Okay, week 5. This is going to wrap this up for us. So let's talk about a few housekeeping issues. Most of the literature stuff, especially for the poetry that you had to read this week, which was the bulk of your reading assignment, everything that I want to tell you is in the PowerPoint. So I won't be talking a lot about the poems this week. I have posted announcements regarding the last possible time that you can turn things in so that I'll have time to grade them and get grades turned in a timely manner to the registrar's office. I've posted more detailed information about your final exam. On week 5, under final exam, you will see, in a nutshell, your study guide. I made the test out myself, and I used the PowerPoints that I built for this class. So if you know who wrote what works, if you can match characters to a description of the character, then you will be in excellent shape for the final. There is no writing component at all on the final. It's completely objective because you have a paper to write. So I tried to keep that in mind and not make this a more stressful week on you than it has to be. The research paper, I added the syllabus description of the paper to week 5 so that you are completely clear on how long it needs to be, how many sources to use, that kind of thing. I also posted an announcement as far as the last possible time you can upload or get me your rough draft of your paper if you would like feedback for it. It's coming up really quickly because it takes a while to look at those critically and give appropriate help. So if you want that help, it's your call. But if you want it, I need you to meet the deadline that I've given you in Blackboard. Okay, Young, Good Men, Brown. That's probably a story that you read in high school. I had to read that, I think, in 11th grade in Mississippi education. That's when we study American literature exclusively. We don't do Shakespeare or any other British literature in the 11th grade. It's an allegory, a story that has kind of a double meaning about this man who loses his faith. His faith being his faith in God and his wife, who happens to be named Faith. Because he goes to this clandestine meeting where he sees all of these. His Sunday school teacher, for goodness sake, that's catechism is like your doctrine. So his catechism teacher is the person who would be like your Sunday school teacher in your church. And the deacon and the minister, and he sees all these people, and he's just convinced that they're hypocrites now, and he wants nothing to do with humanity after he sees this. And it's the typical person. You know, growing up as a minister's child, I hear this all the time. It's the typical person who's like, well, I'm not going to church, it's full of hypocrites. And, you know, my dad's response is, no, we always have room for one more. Because, I guess on some level, all Christians are hypocrites at some point because none of us is perfect. We're just forgiven. And the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is the death of Ivan Illich, because that one also speaks to religion, because Leo Tolstoy had recently converted to Christianity when he wrote this. And it's just so tragic. It's the story of this man who's dying, and his death is a lingering death. It's not a merciful, quick death. It's a lingering death. And he's just squandered his life. He's had an empty, futile life, chasing status, chasing wealth, chasing position. And he hasn't invested anything in compassion, love, friendship, the things in life that really matter and make death easier. And so his death is torturous for him. And then at the end, he realizes that, wait a minute, I wasn't really a good person. Because for a while, he's like, why do bad things happen to good people? I was a good dude. Why am I suffering like this? And then at the end, he realizes he wasn't really a good man. And at that point, he feels peace, and he passes away. And to me, that's a little bit symbolic of the biblical reference, the truth will set you free, because he's embraced the truth at that point, and he's realized that maybe he's not suffering needlessly. Maybe he did bring it on himself. The Appointment in Samara is a little folk fable that I found to be quite humorous. You can't escape death. You just can't. I mean, the guy tries his best to outrun him, and you just can't. So this entire week, everything that we had to read reminded us of our own mortality. Even our devotional, and there's a poem. I know that this week is crazy, but John Donne is one of my favorite poets, and he has a poem, a sonnet, called "Death, Be Not Proud." And if there's at any time in your personal life when you struggle with a fear of death, and I think that's completely human, the fear of the unknown is completely normal. Oh, sorry. That poem will help you. Sorry about that. That poem will help you realize just what a gift you have if you have the assurance of eternal life, which I pray that you do. If you have questions as we're wrapping up, email me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And I hope you have a great week.